To become a writer, of course, you have to read, right? He read profusely and wrote some unforgettable verses of English literature. And Kurangi literature nani tisha go kera chashudi the Canterbury Tales. The Canterbury Tales like the Songba Kurang dinalo la character yore chasang sang diyor. That was like the first quality English literature that was produced, right? Character yore character mikashe je zomne nyamdo travel chidu mi re re dum re re shedu tale re re cha poem re re shir. Am I clear? And me mangboji rubru crying Canterbury Tales nala mi chungi re chi yore the nyamdo travel chi yores mi chungi mi chi gi dum jik shedu sambala poem jik cha mi chi gi dum jik shedu sambala poem jik cha and it's poem gi collection daujur. And he has another writing, The Parliament of Falls. Poets Shemba, William Langland, John Gower. I don't think we need to focus on these. 14th century in English, William gi English the national language declared chesum, Parliament the English nala open ches norva. Ani writer the father of English literature was born in that era. Geoffrey Chaucer, 14th century na born chesma. The 15th century, the barren period of English literature, often termed as barren. 15th, Chaucer, mi mangboji, keba mangboji shela. Chaucer the keba cheda chu, Chaucer the keda cheda chu. This jail writer yungi dinzu ya thun tu yo mares. It's like keba chik nye ne yana ya thun ma tu ya chik. And it kanye chik to 15th century na. Ani writer sama so style meba. They were all imitating Chaucerian style. They were all imitating Chaucer. To do some 15th century nal rather. To do some original writer injinala di kera chimbu chung re la je 15th century nal right. Teaching anything sang get up tige mangboji 15th century la barren. It's also W.H. Hudson, one of the famous critic crying tea or English literature get up na koi crying in tidu period del kharla bido. Barren period of English literature. Barren lana kengirwa sajajig la tendo mageba in a barren land. The period the Inji language literature gi tendo mage sagi period chigres, right? Original writer then so emerged chiti omares ina yang poet group and nyenga kengi group ni to the sherwa. Chik Scotland ne of course under United Kingdom, right? Chik English Quran ne thundwa dingiga yang Chaucer la lendo chin tigi wa songzang imitator of Chaucer in the songzang English Chaucerian, Scottish Chaucerian kunzugi group the mingla kajin lavena Quran su originality ke tento mindwa Quran su chik yin every writer should have its own style, right? Kunzu Quran su style ke mindwa kitchen. One very, very, very significant thing happened in 15th century. Of course, barren le rabwa. Gerab nana shegoye kechin bujik 15th century nan chungwa, and that is English drama. English drama yorba poetry thandanga zu khane originate we've already discussed, right? Poetry khane originate chisu. I'm going to be that teacher that I am in my class. Otherwise, I feel like you're all going to sleep very soon, right? And we are just on the first few slides. So poetry, the Dr. Geoffrey Chaucer, you don't have to go back. You can say Geoffrey Chaucer was the first who wrote English poem, right? And then the English drama play like drama like wanzu peba nala dogar tamche dogar. I think both can go. Niga drochogurban, right? The tangbo chungye the 15th century le chungdu digi chungungi kalagre ting tine, right? The church la tugudu Catholic, right? English drama is Catholic in origin. The church nanglo la kunzugi church nanglo la Bible nanglo la gospel mangbo jore Bible nanglo la dung mangbo jore di mitangma la ma pel go yorba mitangma shing go yorba di shingye la an kunzugi initiative khande jilere tanga zu drum din zu she den mi din zu bor chai dosra ta drum din zu tap den china din nanglo la Jesus crucifixion den de yore copper the Bible nanglo drum chinji mangbo yorba dinga zu tap den china 아니 미라 koa le gyoga yungsare sam khonso tende samlo jine play de go jugdwa drama di very interesting drama di thinge bishop cleric priest tenzu gi thido right tabnye yang character play chinge your things you have all the actors and actresses right thidu tabnye yang bishops clerics tawa denzu tabgidwa so I was thinking samlo dangwa tandangansu ngaransu tawa dan lama gi tabiya gi tabdon yorwa we also have that tradition isn't it gomba nema I don't know whether I'm right in comparing this to dingi compare china khadobadonga digi yomedanga shingi merba khajinlana being a Buddhist I always have this feeling that chamla na tsachimbu gaji chamla khatu na jo cham the literature na shin tayagi thanda logo de ligimidwa chamla na ta not related to human being the hadaji very far away from us very elevated lofty right inayang I could see some similarities here right ngazu gi chedu go chue chedu cham de thabgi yura common people la thuk thuye chedu common people la reach chedu cham de thabgi yura otherwise there dinal meaning shemba yura chikwa chigya church na thangbo la bishop the cleric la na khengirwa church na father den yura kunzu gi ta ngazu bible di thapton chigo do sra and thidu sambala thapton chidu sambala thidu shine drama di ma tharwa and the drama de la kunzu gi didwa subject it displayed episodes from life of Christ and it enacted biblical stories all the subjects were coming from Bible and it was enacting the life of Jesus Christ right the playwright and actors were all bishops and clerics tabdun chingin character the bishop the cleric and tabdun chege tuzujurwa it was normally during Christmas and Easter right I have a question cham tabele tuzujurwa cham lo chasan tabdig midwa khatu tabgidu I guess losar sane tuzujwa chudul dawala I guess ragila that's right ragila cham oh dende dawji ki tuzula yang azu khare drama dia Christmas la tabia dang any Easter dang dende la machine nam gyundu tabgi midwa khonzu right and then language the very interesting language the khonzu inji shag midwa English language the Latin and French isn't that interesting don't you want to ask why la khachini Latin the French khachini inji shame wainas we'll come back to it we'll definitely right thidu sambala inji gi ke de mikyoma gi gyawe ke la gi ke da keba gi gyawe ke le zigi mindwa tanda nga inji gyab de colloquial English vernacular English right English la thongchong shiu jor thidu tanda capchimbu droedi da lugyung azu jelo yungurwa tanda inji international language sachimbu shiu zigi urwa thidu Bible the inji na yomar Bible was in Latin Bible the inji na la gyurna dikpa sagores inji the shingba denzu gi gaya gi keres mi thepja denzu gaya keres mi lobjon yenge da shen khemba denzu gi gaya gi ke mares tichini Bible the Latin Greek Hebrew denzu normal tigi yomar am I clear the things everything has changed inji gyanna kheba inji ma gyanna kheba marwa isn't it we have this kind of conception now of course this is wrong but the conception is very much there right thidu gi play la mystery play and miracle play tente ma originate do drama di church na thabe de la mystery play miracle play thabe mangche I've just given two examples here most famous of them were Jesus crucifixion and Corpus Christi play tente do thapten chigores ta khashire dende thap denna miden zutis nyob du dus ra takpa ngazo mystery play the miracle play thap denna mi nyob du dus tichine digi kima la ngazo tanda movie daga dona interval yorwa we have interval isn't it movie daga interval tende nashi kunzu interval ji shining ngazo interval the mystery the miracle play thap the interval ji shining ngazo gi dit thapnas morality play mila yakuchi gi gyumzen dan ta kunzu gi thapten chasang gyablo la motive yorda there's a motive behind their play right the motive is oh mi gi samba gyurwa tango good the evil gi khebar tong go do and inji nang lo lai bible nang lo le nga ju mi gewa chu da gewa chu the your bible nang lo le 7 deadly sins and all those sins right tinzu mi na shin thap ten chine tena mi ya go so sare tende gi samlo jini du kun morality play lash go do the mi gi moral ki wa tang ya chid di de ya interlude interval la shaye che je la khale morality play the shuk che du do right and morality play and then stepped out of church morality play the kha khasala khap go yu sambala church nang lo la rang ma de wa che it stepped out of church and then play drama the mikuma glapal rar tingela bishop the clerics ki lapal ra drama the morality play ni chen ma mikuma glapal rar and then we had Shakespeare isn't it Shakespeare la tendes tie ki khogab rar mando church na la den Shakespeare chasa marwa right so and gradually it became independent. I don't have to read this. Dinalo la lobdun you have a didactic, right? Katu na chik dubare chik yagare lan lobdun che jura drama na didactic, morality play, and then the morality, the Renaissance playwright na le rigorous Renaissance. We are going to get to Renaissance, and then the Renaissance, right? The 15th century tasma, 15th century. Was very significant. Of course, it was termed as the barren period of English literature, but very significant at the same time because it was the era in which English drama originated, right? And then that's how we got Shakespeare. Otherwise, we would be devoid of Shakespeare. The Shakespeare Rangmarwa, and then English literature would be really poor without him, isn't it? Right? So in the Renaissance, starting from 1516 to 1625, right? Renaissance nang lo la tidu sambal tha zambuling gurwa shuk chimbu shio jik the da England nang lo la gurwa shuk chimbu shio jik the ore Renaissance the actually the Italy la start chi durwa but it gradually travels to England Italy la start chi di la kheba tidu sambal munne kheba gi lega jige di thanga Greek ki kheba den jigra Plato Aristotle and all those you can count on right munne kheba kunzu la shagir ba tidu kunzu gi lega chisha gyo chazang thanda da Plato's the Republic yore Homer Iliad then the epic mangbo jore tinzu chazang Greek le yorwa nyama Greek was the center of intellectual people right Greek la Turkey gyuma gavres I think I'm going into a little bit of history Turkey la ma again Constantinople la saja the simdu sambala kheba mangboji Greek ni treres kunzu tredi kunzu nyamdo literature mangbojik Italy la kidobres Rome Italy right and then Rome became the center of intellectual people Rome the intellectual people center chaya the Greek ni su literature mangboj Rome la leres right and Rome la ledu sambala Italy la and then kheba ningba literature ningba Homer Iliad and Republic dinzu ya lo yong du sambala classic learning la ing shuge jorba Rome la yangya the classic dinzu ngunne sachimbu resha we have to revive that Renaissance is revival of classic learning to the ya revive chigudus am I clear the revive chidu some revival of classic learning right it was a cultural movement which began in Italy we have talked about it and then thidu some Renaissance so something very interesting was coming up and that was the feeling of humanism right ngela khande jore if we think about ngado samlo chinjin tang baina ngela kunzu God is everything God was the center of universe church ki changma rule chiyor am I clear milo susu ki potential the motion gyomar human being they didn't know their own potential to the humanism like idea the lay marba right this period de la human became the central of the universe that is humanism when human beings started believing that they also have some potential nganzula potential years and so gi che nyerba that is humanism Renaissance kap so di che di nyedwa di che di humanism che tidu sambala yi che nye go gi gyumsen la mangbu yore tidu sambala theory yarge du yore knowledge saw mangbu jigra yore tidu sambala thanda all these famous travelers thanda ma shingirwa Columbus Vasco da Gama tinzu phazu travel to the mile du munne potential yenge jire du sambe su yi che nye jwa Renaissance kap du nyedwa right And Renaissance comes to Germany nang lo la gyrochimbushus tegiore. Why I'm talking about Germany and England? Because ultimately they're going to travel, they're going to influence English literature, right? Germany nang lo la Reformation started by Luther. Reformation di thanda nye langa du Catholic mashiyo marba church di ani Protestant thurba Catholic church di nang lo la God supreme power ani supreme power the Pope ki lakbal sim di yorba and Pope decides everything, isn't it? Ani Germany nang lo la Martin Luther, right? Martin Luther ki didigi min dosrva ngaran su la Protestant and thinechini Catholic the Protestant ni chagwa Christianity nala thidu saba Germany ni gozur Protestantism, right? Germany ne Protestantism the Germany Luther ne influence chini the England la England, that's how England became a Protestant country. England the Protestant country chayjurwa Reformation. So it reached England, the Renaissance reached England quite late, but it left its indelible mark on English literature. With that, I'll move on. Right, humanism, me the powerful re, me the jungi re la jurva, tigi samlo the shuk chumbuji Renaissance kapsule. And it is as I've already told you, revival of classic learning. Classic learning mangbuji ya revive chirva kunzugi. Tidu sambala Italian poet. Petrarch ki sonnet. Petrarch has written a lot of sonnets, and I think in Shastri second we have read some sonnets, right? Petrarchan sonnet in the lawyer. Sonnet is a 14-line poem, a very short poem, right? Sonnet sonnet poetry na poetry naga mangbo yurba sonnet, ode, elegy, epic mangbo yurba. Sonnet na Inji literature na sonnet yungedi, it came from Italy. Italy ni tu sonnet di thargidwa. Petrarch ki style jurba. Petrarch ki style de la lende chene, imitate chene, ra. Thomas Wyatt, the first sonneteer of English literature, right? Thomas Wyatt langedi Thomas Wyatt and Henry Howard kunini gi sonnet sombare, and that sonnet became widely popular later on with a name called Petrarchian sonnet. Petrarchian sonnet khachine labore Petrarch ne peshune sonnet de tiberba, and that's why Petrarchian sonnet, right? Kunini go am kurani gi somshage sonnet gi collection keta cheshudi Totals Miscellany. I've given the title here, right? Tene tidu sample prose lana kengirba. What is prose? Siglu ra siglu di mangche jikta thanda siglu tharmas ma poetry tharsas ma drama tharsas ma siglu di mangche di translation Renaissance kapsu translation shukchum pechungur revival of old literature, classic literature. Homer the Iliad na ani Plato ki the Republic yurwa tinjado mangbo jik inji na chu gyure di thidu gozurwa thidu gozu du sambala ani prose lady siglu thiedi ani tendes cinema tharwa roji inji literature na sheyor. The translation and study of classic inspired English writers pick up their pen for a change. That the Republic do into gyurdu sambala Plato ki the Republic di Plato korangi zamboling lana vision korangi idea jigurwa chicho mi gi chicho lana dende jigore lan korangi khala the vision va vision chigodi ta keba denju so gyur yungdu sambala ngansui keba gi lega keba gi gyurdu. Of course these scholars are going to be inspired by the ideas, right, of the former scholars. Scholar ningba denju gi idea gi inspired chicher va Plato gi the Republic la somyor ngema va the Republic na la korangi mi gi chitso la na dende gogu dulan korangi vision chigyor thenema inspire chine Thomas More ki it's sometimes called utopia. You can also read it as utopia. It depends upon you. Mikashi utopia like that, va? Mikashi utopia. But you must have heard about this word. Konyuwa. Have you heard about this word? The namgyu ngansu pejutang de utopian, something which is very ideal. Dida mune yungthung mare dida koy utopian dream re lagwa or utopian dream yungthung mare lajurwa Tidu samba Thomas More ki thep jitire thep digi ming la ko utopia or utopia, whatever you want to call it, right? Utopia tare Kurang gi dinang lo la Plato nang shi mi gi chitso la na dendej ko do la nilam ideal chitso dinang lo la poet dendej go do khangba dendej go ta nilam do su nilam ta dang lang mara vision khala vision chanang, and that chanang is an ideal chanang yakshudi chanang yakshudi ankurangi mapa biro that is and utopia the ani or utopia became the representative of prose during renaissance ki this renaissance prose, right? Very interesting point coming up here. Renaissance nanglo la prose shukchimbu thariorba prose thardani wadi John Tyndale. Sir John Tyndale langi michi dichire Bible the English na la gyuriegi gozu gonzu narwa, right? Sir John Tyndale hugely inspired by Luther. Yang ko di engine la gyuriegi samlo dikhane nyere Germany la Luther gi Bible the German na la gyurgiyo sarwa, right? Reformation gi Protestantism lerwa New Testament the gyurgiyo sarwa ta ko gi ngazu engine lo le the Bible the gyurgo dos digi ngwe la gyur khashe yo sar bet dang kunzu ine gyur chasan jiyo samarwa ta di gyur wa ma se engine shuji simple English na la gyurgo dos tende kurangi samlo chnyedwa samlo nyene he started translating Bible in the year 1522 and the translation was from Greek and Hebrew, right? But you know what? He was persecuted. He was executed. And the charge was he was committing heresy. Kron la timdo ne khachire sokto tang sokto khachin tang re inchi ke di Kron la charge dirida heresy Bible di tsachimbu huge res the Greek the Hebrew the Latin nalamash yung chog mare le samlo shukchumbu shuk the church pe shukchumbulwa church determines the law at that time pope pe shukchumbulwa the ani khoegi ta injinal gyuriegi tapshi chie the blasphemous injinal blasphemous or sacrilegious lerwa pyoge nala chala tsachimbu jela nangjung dang ni jikche jurwa I don't know the Tibetan word, but in English we call it blasphemous or sacrilegious. Chala sacred chigla, sacred mazi ne, dil nangjung tongjung tangye jura. Tende tang suns koegi Bible la, John Tyndale ki English na gyuriya thapshi chidu, and he was persecuted for that. Koran serva. Tidu sambala ko charge the heresy, blasphemy, and sacrilegious are all the same. Yina yang jela nowadays he is considered as a martyr. Thingsang midin zugi ko la charge di zugi yo mare. Thingsang midin zugi ko martyr res. Inji ke na gyuriya chu the rangso lo ta res ko sacrifice chi res. Nowadays is considered as a martyr, right? Ina yang kora ningje gyurcha thang tu midwa kora di kharem execute ma chingela. So Tyndale Kurangi Topo Jure Miles Coverdale completed the final translation, which was initiated or which was started by John Tyndale, and the first complete Bible in English was published in 1540. 1540 na le shine Bible chazanji inji ke na le. Ta tidu ani shine inji ke de ta yashuk cher dugur dinge na inji ke la tongjung shiu jorwa ke de Shingbagi keres, peasants language, right? And Tyndale gi migyu jorwa the Bible the kare inji na gyurgo migyu cheshe the kare Bible le the lagi God gi keres, God gi message res, and God gi message dinzo Hebrew the Greek Latin chipunal tina mi kasheji church the cleric the bishop the father kepa kasheji lo tugu dumando mi kyuma chazangi lo tugu mendo skran samlo deorwa tange kesi the English nala that too a very simple English, right? Not a formal and a difficult English, but a very simple English na gyuna shingba puji ge lo tugu res He wanted a plowman, right? He wanted a farmer to read God's word. That was his motive. The Bible, the Lord, that was the idea of Protestantism. The idea, Bible, the church, they are powerful. God's messenger, right? So the Bible, the caption, I think that motive was really genuine, right? He was persecuted, but now he's considered a martyr in English literature. Renaissance ki that the spirit Renaissance ki nanglo ne there were like so many famous writers who came out during Renaissance, because that was the era when so many things were happening. Humanism, Reformation, believe in one's own potential. Dinzo sama idea gyabjongi idea ba. Dinzo yudu sama writer kera chimbo mangbo chung Renaissance cups, right? But we don't have time to touch upon all the famous writers. But of course, but still we cannot do without Shakespeare, right? So I've given a page to Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, 1558 to 1625, playwright, dramatist, drama playwright and poet of exceptional caliber. Right? Shakespeare, and he has written around 37 plays, and writer labne they write he was a group of a acting he was a group of a theater group and play published it was not his goal to publish his plays, but his goal was to enact the plays. Play in the theater nala tabiagi lapsang gyoku tabiagi migyu shan play and Shakespeare ki play the I hope mix chazangi play chikta loyo girwa. But even then we are all aware of Shakespeare, right? Shakespeare ming the konyu rwanganzo, right? And Kurangi play Ketachimbu Manguchi Sumju Sobdu Nanglone. I've given you only two examples, Hamlet and Julius Caesar, right? Wonderful play, and play the theme the kashe historical, your revenge theme, your kashe tragedy, your comical, your kashe chazang roji tsang your and Shakespeare ge sonnet yet and we are already introduced with what is sonnet, right? Sonnet yet ina yang Kurangi style the this logat your Petrarch style they follow chio mare. That's why Kurangi sonnet, of course 14-line poem, right? But still his style was different. That's why Kurangi Tigogi sonnet then the Shakespearean sonnet later. And he has written around 154 sonnets, right? And narrative poems as well. And I've given you two examples for my mistress's eyes are nothing like sun, and it goes on and on. And then there's another sonnet, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? It's a beautiful sonnet. If you get chance, you should definitely read it, right? I don't think we Renaissance cups so writer Keba Chimbu Dindu Chazang Chung Yorera, but we don't have time to focus upon each, right? So you can just have a look at it. Poets Nalola Thomas Wyatt, Philip Sidney, Edmund Spenser, prose Nalola Francis Bacon. You must have at least heard about Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon ki essay Kera Chimbu Dindu Yorba, right? If not, no problem, right? Playwright, Thidu Sambala, dramatist, Shakespeare, Ginyamdo contemporary, Christopher Marlowe, Peketa Chimbu Chungure, Inaya, Shakespeare, Keta Cheda Chun, Kranting San, Sheda Poem in Dwafrangi. With that was Renaissance. So much was happening in Renaissance, right? With that, we move on to neoclassical era. This jail, Renaissance ki jaila, and the neoclassical era nal pabgirwa. Neoclassical era starting from 1625 to 1790. Thidu Sambala Puritanism, Protestant yimbe kangshig la ya extreme nal ruyor mikashe. Am I clear? Tanda ngazu Hindu lagwa Hindu na yang tanda dendwa kare Bal Thakre dendwa fanatics extreme nal rudwa kashe. Am I clear? Hindu yimbe kangshig la yang Hindu di pe tawa trapos dimni kale kapos udwa mi seke ya tende do kunzu kapsu chungdwa Puritans denzu Puritans, right? Yeah, Protestant Christian theme kiche bet kurang tawa chapusim fanatics do chine mi se kala thidu sambala tharwa dela on the tawa thakbu che dela Puritanism. That was Puritanism, and at that time England was also having some civil war was also going on between the king and the Whigs and Tories will later come up. These are all historical. And then Puritan dinzu gikap so gebo de dethrone gebo de ma dethrone kingirwa gebo de cinema papche Oliver Cromwell la che khura ya minister da ujre khura ong chimbu chini gebo ma papche khura rule chirwa England tuju tundun chirengal, right? Tidhi sambala Krangi and England nanglo, of course he was a Puritan, that's why Krangi England nanglo digzu mangbu shiuch suche nge lungba la di chi chogu me and the mangbu jig la du kibu tang chogu me pleasure was forbidden, right? And theaters were closed. Theater drama tidhi sambala, you can say that drama almost died during that age. Theater means theater na kibu tang aduwa timuta so tonang chejurwa theater means cherang la samlo dani the theater was closed, pleasure was forbidden, but then this Puritanism Oliver Cromwell couldn't last long gurumbu shiuji deoma, right? And Charles II, the king, was restored again during restoration like rayang khura rangja su lor, am I clear? We're running very fast. There are so many complexities within this, right? But we are just trying to talk about everything in English literature or English history that happened, right? Charles II restored Chires and restored Chidu Gebola Gabyor Chinge group chick, Gabyor matching a group chick, Tidu Nate divide church, and this went on and things House of Lords and House of Commons, Laninaga ni page dwa. Tidu ne chine gozu gudwa Whigs and Tories ki, right? Tidu sambal lagi poetry, neoclassical poetry. The most famous of them was John Milton. And Milton represents the Puritan Milton ki Puritan ideology they represent yours. It's said that Milton represents the Puritan ideology because if you read Milton's work, most of them are biblical in idea. Koi mang che she Bible ki theme ne ma lendi, right? So they just chazang biblical che. And anyone who has read Milton? Yes, we are reading Milton in Shastri second again. So I almost feel like I'm covering Shastri second syllabus here, right? But still, Milton ki on his blindness, sonnet, Paradise Lost is about Bible. Bible so he produced the noblest expression of Puritan spirit. And then you have John Dryden ki political satire. Tidu sambal Quran poem somgyodi satire lena chigla mock chini so major mocking ngazu phege na khale re la chagme chini so me de khare John Dryden. And then neoclassical nanglo la thadang ye issues were